Just as the captors approached where the women were hiding, one of the women, out of exhaustion, fell down from the tree. Panic seized the hearts of the other hidden women, their breath caught as they watched in horror, knowing that their sanctuary had been compromised. As days passed, the search for Amara intensified. As Amara's parents reported the matter to the police and also to her school, the police in turn searched tirelessly, following every lead and combing through every inch of the forest in search of clues. But despite their efforts, Amara remained elusive, her fate shrouded in mystery. Meanwhile, at Unineb, gossip spread like wildfire, fueled by the uncertainty surrounding Amara's disappearance. Some whispered that she had been used for money rituals, while others speculated that she had met a gruesome end at the hands of her captors. The whole campus buzzed with rumors and speculations, each wilder than the last. Students whispered in hushed tones. Amara's story was on everyone's lips. As for Hafsat, she was consumed by grief and guilt. She withdrew into herself, her once vibrant spirit dulled by the weight of her friend's disappearance. She stopped attending lectures, her mind consumed by thoughts of Amara and the unknown horrors she might be facing. At the riverbank, the women were made to enter boats, but in batches, each boat going to a different destination. Amara watched helplessly as Ima's boat drifted away. A pang of sorrow pierced her heart. She had grown close to the young lady during their time in the forest, and the thought of being separated from her filled her with anguish. She longed to reach out, to call out to her friend one last time, but she knew that any sign of resistance would only invite further punishment from their captors. So, with tears streaming down her face, Amara swallowed her grief and resolved to stay strong. As another boat was readied, Amara felt a surge of determination coursing through her veins. She knew she had to find a way to escape, to break free from the clutches of her captors and find her way back to safety. But she couldn't do it alone. She needed help, someone who shared her desire for freedom. Moments later, they got into the boat and sailed away. With each passing moment, Amara's mind raced with thoughts of escape. She scanned the faces of the other women, searching for a glimmer of courage amidst their fear. But they sat huddled together, their eyes downcast and their spirits broken. Determined not to give up hope, Amara racked her brain for a plan. She needed to convince the other women to join her, to rally together in a bid for freedom. But how could she persuade them to risk everything for a chance at escape? With a sense of determination, she turned to the women beside her, her voice low but filled with conviction. "Listen to me," she whispered, her eyes locking with theirs. "We cannot let them control us any longer. We need to escape from this boat. We can't let them take us to wherever they are going. But I can't do this alone. We will need to work together." At first, the women looked at her with fear and disbelief. But as Amara outlined her plan for escape, her words filled with passion and determination. A spark of hope ignited within them. Slowly, hesitantly, they began to nod in agreement, and the message was passed across all the women on the boat, their fear giving way to a newfound sense of resolve. As the boat sailed further into the river, Amara's heart pounded with anticipation. She knew that the success of their plan hinged on their ability to work together, to overcome their fear and seize the opportunity for escape. She prayed that their courage would be enough to carry them through to safety. Will they succeed? Join me as we dive deeper into the story, not forgetting to subscribe, like, and share. As the boat glided across the water, Amara and her newfound allies exchanged nervous glances, their hearts pounding with anticipation. The men paddling the boat seemed oblivious to their whispered conversation, their attention focused solely on the task at hand. With each stroke of the oars, Amara felt the tension in her muscles grow, her body poised for action. As they approached a bend in the river, she knew it was now or never. Taking a deep breath, she nodded to her companions, signaling that the moment had come. In one swift motion, they sprang into action. They attacked the unsuspecting men, overpowering them with a fierce determination. Caught off guard, the men struggled against their sudden assault, but it was no match for the strength and resolve of the determined women. They pushed the men into the river, and with the men subdued, the women seized the opportunity to take control of the boat, guiding it towards the riverbank with shaky hands. As they reached the safety of the shore, a sense of exhilaration washed over Amara, mingled with relief and disbelief. But their journey was far from over. With their captors swimming towards the shore, Amara knew that they had to keep moving to put as much distance between themselves and their pursuers as possible. With a silent prayer on their lips, she helped her companions to their feet, their eyes locking in a silent vow to never give up the fight for freedom. Together, they disappeared into the dense foliage of the forest. But as they ventured deeper into the unknown, Amara knew that the road ahead would be fraught with danger and uncertainty. Their senses heightened with every rustle of leaves and snap of twigs. They moved with caution, their eyes scanning their surroundings for any sign of danger. Hours passed and night fell upon them. Yet, they pressed on through the dense undergrowth, their footsteps echoing in the silence of the night. With each passing moment, their legs grew weary, their breath coming in ragged gasps, but they refused to give up, driven by the hope of finding their way back to safety. As dawn broke over the horizon, casting a soft golden light across the forests, Amara and her companions stumbled upon a small clearing. In the distance, they could hear the faint sound of running water. With renewed determination, they forged ahead, their hearts pounding with anticipation. But as they approached the edge of the clearing, their hopes were dashed by the sight of a towering wall of thorns blocking their path. Despair threatened to overwhelm Amara as she realized they were trapped with no way forward and their pursuers hot on their trail. But she refused to give in to despair, her mind racing with thoughts of escape. Turning to the other women, Amara's eyes sparkled with determination as she spoke in a voice filled with resolve. We may be trapped for now, but we will find our way out of this. Together, we will overcome any obstacle that stands in our way. As exhaustion weighed heavy on their limbs and hunger gnawed at their bellies, the women gathered together, their minds buzzing with ideas of how to evade their pursuers. Hauwa, one of the women, suggested that they climbed up the trees and rest for a while, seeking refuge amidst the branches where they will be hidden from sight. But another woman suggested a more drastic approach, shedding off their clothes and dressing themselves in leaves to blend into the foliage, hoping to avoid detection by their captors. The idea sent shiver down Amara's spine, but she could see the desperation in the eyes of her fellow captives. As they weighed their options, the sound of their pursuers grew closer, their voices echoing through the forest. With no time to spare, the women made a split-second decision, opting to follow Hauwa's suggestion and seek refuge in the trees. With trembling hands and hearts pounding in their chests, they scrambled up the nearest tree, their breaths coming in ragged gasps as they climbed higher and higher, seeking safety amidst the branches. As they settled into their makeshift perch, Amara couldn't shake off the feeling of vulnerability that washed over her, exposed and defenseless against the dangers lurking below. But as the minutes stretched into hours, fatigue began to take its toll, and one by one, the women drifted off into an uneasy sleep. As the news of Amara's disappearance continued to spread like wildfire, posters bearing her image were plastered on every street corner, a haunting reminder of the young woman who had vanished without a trace. The story of her and 3 other women who mysteriously went missing dominated the headlines, capturing the attention of the nation and sparking a frenzy of concern and outrage. The police in Lagos swung into action, their investigation fueled by a flood of tips and sightings from concerned citizens. With the help of the public transport company that confirmed Amara's arrival in Lagos, they scoured the city in search of any clue that could lead them to her whereabouts. Every lead was pursued with relentless determination, every stone turned in the desperate hope of bringing Amara home safely. Meanwhile, back in her hometown, Amara's mother turned to her faith for solace and strength. The church became her second home, a sanctuary where she could pour out her heart in prayer, praying to God for the safe return of her beloved daughter. But amidst the chaos and despair, a glimmer of hope remained. For Amara's mother and the countless others who prayed for her safe return, faith was a beacon of light in the darkness, a source of comfort and courage in the face of the overwhelming adversity. But will Amara return safely? Stay tuned as the story is about to take a different twist, not forgetting to subscribe. Just as the captors approached where the women were hiding, one of the women, out of exhaustion, fell down from the tree. As the woman fell with a loud thud and a piercing cry, panic seized the hearts of the other hidden women. Their breath caught in their throats as they watched in horror, knowing that their sanctuary had been compromised. With every fiber of their being, they willed the woman to be silent, to remain hidden and safe. But it was too late. The sound of her fall and screams echoed through the stillness of the forest, drawing the attention of their captors like moths to a flame. In an instant, the air crackled with tension as the men turned towards the source of the noise. The fallen woman's cries filled the air, pleading for mercy as the men closed in with cruel intent. With a sickening thud, one of the men raised his cutlass and struck her down without hesitation. The force of the blow sending shockwaves through the surrounding trees. A collective gasp escaped the lips of the hidden women as they witnessed the brutal acts of violence, their hearts pounding in their chests. But in the chaos that ensued, one of the women let out a scream of terror. Unable to contain her fear any longer, the sound shattered the silence of the forest, reverberating through the air and drawing the attention of the men upwards. And to their horror, they saw the women hiding in the trees, their eyes wide with terror as they realized their secrets has been discovered. With a sense of urgency born of desperation, the women leaped from their hiding spots and scattered in all directions, their bodies moving on pure instinct as they fled from their pursuers. The underbrush rustling with every frantic movement as they raced against time and fate. But amidst the chaos and confusion, one thought burned bright in Amara's mind. She would not give up without a fight. With every ounce of strength and determination she possessed, she pushed herself forward, her heart pounding. As they ran, 3 women ran alongside Amara. Suddenly, they heard the sound of a speedboat, and without thinking twice, they turned and started running in the direction of the sound, their hearts pounding with a mixture of fear and hope. As they burst through the dense foliage onto the shore of the river, relief flooded through them as they saw a boat approaching. Without hesitation, they started screaming, "Help! Help!" Their voices carrying across the water and reaching the ears of the occupants on board. Police officers on patrol, their presence a stroke of luck in the face of danger. But their moment of relief was short-lived as one of their captors, who was also alerted by their loud cry for help, emerged from the shadows. With grim determination, the policemen readied their firearms, poised to defend the women at any cost. With guns pointed in their direction, the women freaked out, torn between the desperate urge to flee and the realization that they were now caught between 2 deadly threats. Panic seized the woman's heart as they turned to flee, only to be met with the sight of more fierce-looking men emerging from the forest, their eyes fixed on their quarry like predators on the hunt. The police, immediately recognizing the men as their captors, wasted no time in springing into action. With weapons drawn, they unleashed a volley of gunfire in the air. As the men darted back into the safety of the bush, seeking refuge from the storm of bullets, 3 of the women instinctively dropped to the ground, seeking cover from the hail of gunfire. But Amara, consumed by fear and desperation, made a split-second decision. In a moment of sheer panic, Amara found herself running alongside the men, her heart pounding in her chest as she sprinted through the dense underbrush. With each step, the distance between her and safety grew smaller, her breath coming in ragged gasps as she pushed herself to keep running. But fate, cruel and unforgiving, had other plans. In the blink of an eye, a single bullet fired from behind found its mark with deadly accuracy, tearing through the air and piercing Amara's flesh with searing pain. With a strangled cry, Amara stumbled forward, her legs giving out beneath her as she collapsed to the ground in a heap. Agony rippled through her body, every nerve ablaze with searing pain as darkness closing around her. Amara's world narrowed to a pinpoint of agony and despair. She thought of her mother, her friends, and the life she had been torn away from so abruptly. But as the tendrils of death wrapped themselves around her, she knew that her journey had reached its tragic end. Moral lesson. In a world filled with uncertainty, the story of Amara serves as a poignant reminder of the dangers that surround us. It teaches us that naivety and recklessness can lead to devastating consequences, and that it is crucial to exercise caution and discernment in our interactions with people. Amara's tragic fate underscores the importance of staying vigilant and listening to the warnings of those who care about us, as well as the value of trusting in our own instincts and seeking help when faced with danger. Ultimately, her story serves as a sobering reminder that in the face of adversity, it is our strength or character and resilience that will see us through, even in the darkest times. If you enjoyed the story and would like to see more stories of this sort, please consider subscribing, not forgetting to like, share, and drop your thoughts about the story in the comment section. You can also check out these videos here. I promise you won't be disappointed. Till we meet again in my next video, remain blessed.